about paid-for lounges then? What's the Mancunian take on that?
Not sure if it's a Mancunian take, but we call them common use lounges in the industry, which is actually a fairly awful phrase because there's all sorts of connotations to the word common. But actually what they are essentially is lounges that give access for all. So regardless of your travel class, the airline you're going with, you can access a common use lounge or a paid-for lounge.
How is this an innovation for airports and what can they do with them?
So it's not necessarily an innovation. Common use lounges have been around for quite a long time. We opened our first one in 2010 in Manchester. But actually what the innovation is, or rather the area is one that's in growth. So they have become increasingly more popular in line with the rise of food and beverage in airports. And I think that's why they're much more under the spotlight, because it's essentially an all-you-can-eat restaurant, and I don't mean that to be derogatory, so it's linked directly to the rise of food and beverage in airports.
Why do passengers like them so much?
It's a little bit about, I want a treat before I go on holiday. So there are different passenger groups that use lounges. So we have airline passengers that just get that as part of their ticket. We have passengers who maybe get a card as part of their bank account and they come in. And then we get passengers who are just going on a holiday or just going away somewhere that just want a little bit of a special start to the holiday and to escape the hustle and bustle of the terminals. So all kinds of demographics.
What are the economics of this? How does it work? Because you mentioned they might be able to get it through a bank card. Or, I mean, where's the growth area? I mean, some people will just put a cash payment down and say, oh, I want to have this one-off experience. So where do you see the growth area of this, and how do you see it sort of becoming part of that whole either holiday or travel experience?
So again, an interesting question. So you can come into the lounges through multiple what I would call channels. So either as an airline customer, if maybe you're flying on an airline that doesn't have a specific lounge in an airport, you can pay yourself and come through booking through one of our websites or one of our partners' websites. You can come through if you get a card. So the thing that's been interesting is all the various channels or means of entry have all grown at the same time. So actually the challenge now is more about how we keep pace with the market and how we keep putting capacity into the system. So in layman's terms, extra seats.
And am I right in saying that Manchester Airport can establish these within other airports?
Yes, so we operate 11 lounges and 7 of those are in our own airports in the UK and the remainder are actually in other people's airports in the US. So we are both landlord and concessionaire at the same time.
And what kind of insight does that give you?
Fascinating. So I think what's really important as an airport operator, through being on the other side of the fence as a concessionaire, is that you have to create that commercial win-win, because if you don't, it isn't sustainable. So I would urge airports not to be too greedy, and I would urge concessionaires to be as open and honest as they can about their P&L, in the hope that you can create a sustainable model, and then the guest wins or the passenger wins.
What message were you hoping to get across in your talk today?
I think for me, it's a growth area, but it's still quite a small area of airports' non-aeronautical revenue. So there's a little bit about raising the profile, about the market and what we do. And a message actually to airports to say, this is an incremental income stream. So this is something that actually, if you haven't thought about, is additive and incremental. It doesn't steal from anywhere else.
And have you had a good response?
Yeah, actually, really, really good. So I think I've flown the flag for common use lounges today.
How useful is it for you in Manchester Airport to be present at Passenger Terminal Expo?
Oh, massively. And I think it's been astonishing because I keep bumping into colleagues today. So there are lots of people from MAG here. I think it's one of the most important conferences because it covers everything to do with an airport, from the commercial streams through to innovation. And I've sat in some of the future airport sessions today. And then the operational side, the terminal side, the construction side. So it's if I say one size fits all, don't take that as an insult, take that as a compliment. One-stop shop, that's a better phrase. It's the one-stop shop.